Well, let's talk about Victor Gyökeres then. And Perry, I think I saw a stat floating around that no player has scored more goals in 2026 than Victor Gyökeres. And it feels like there's still this massive kind of doubt around him amongst the football community and Arsenal fans, to be honest. But how do you think he got on, and how do you see him kicking on for the rest of the season?
Well, I've been chairman of Gyökeres' fan club since he came.
And
there's been a lot of negativity from a lot of ex-players, ex-centre forwards, and I just said he needed time to settle in. He was Sporting Lisbon's main man, so he sort of ruled the roost in there and he told players what he wanted. You come to you're a different level and you're judged on a different level. And you said about the stat there, the other one is, in his first 32 games for Arsenal, he scored more goals than Thierry Henry did and more goals than Dennis Bergkamp did. Wow. One was 11, one was 10. And if you remember when they first came, especially Henry, the press was on him. Even the fans were on him. I remember Pires when he first came, the first 9-10 games, the fans weren't having him. But you've got to go with what your eyes are telling you. And with Gyökeres, he had to get used to the way that because Arteta is very controlled in the way that we play, and you have to take in a lot of information. But also, because he wasn't feeling confident, he wasn't demanding from his teammates. When he's Sporting Lisbon, he'd be saying to midfield players, "Oi, get it in the channels lively, get it up to me, wingers in the wide areas, get the ball in the box." But because he hasn't got that stature and he's just grown into it, and I saw a different body language when he came on. I saw someone who looked an inch or 2 inches a little bit taller. A couple of times it came into him, he backed in and he held it up really well, and he linked up the play. And the 2 goals that he got are typical Gyökeres goals, because the first one is good build-up play, Trossard into Havertz and as he's fallen over, he sort of sweeps it in. And the second one is, he sees Martinelli go through and he's like, "Oh, I'm centre forward. I want to." And people say it's a tap in, but you have to be in the right position at the right time. So I know that he can only get better, and he's our top scorer. He's got 13 goals. He said there he's top scorer in 2026. So he's only he can only improve, and he gives us a miles different outlet. Yeah. Exactly what he did when he came on. So about going long. When he came on, then we could go long. And we get in the channels, and then Sunderland then sit a little bit deeper.
How key do you both think, and CJ, I'll come to you first on this, just how key do you think Kai Havertz is in this emergence of form for Victor Gyökeres? Because we've seen them play together a couple of times now. Havertz is playing just behind, because there was a lot of talk about, Havertz playing up front. Will he get in the team ahead of Victor Gyökeres? But a lot of the time he's playing behind now. Do you think he's key to Gyökeres' success for the rest of the season?
They both love playing together, Kai Havertz and Gyökeres. They're a bit similar in that, they're physical, they can go long. It's like when one drops, the other one kind of clocks the other one's game to go long. I personally think we've needed a bit of a switch up. I know Martin Odegaard's had a knock and been injured, but I do think we need to be a bit more unpredictable. And I do think we're getting into that season when if players are in a purple patch or players do look confident, simply put, you've got to get them in the side, man. And I think Perry's right in that you can see Gyökeres every game, he's getting more and more demanding of his teammates. He's accepted now, okay, I'm an Arsenal footballer. Obviously, he's not silly. He knows how difficult it is to represent this massive club. But I guess only unless you've walked into those shoes, especially in the present day with social media and the clamour for a striker, you could understand that. For me, I think the spark happened against Inter Milan because it sounds silly, but it's even the way he's celebrating the goals. And, when he scored against Inter Milan, it was like a weight lifted off his shoulders. So long may it continue. And I just hope that the same negatives that were said about the man, you give him the same energy because he deserves all the plaudits. He should be one of the first names on the team sheet, Nick.
Do you know what happens is where players are judged differently. All Arsenal fans and the media are having Kai Havertz because they know that he's a very good footballer. Do you know what I mean? He scored a winning goal in Champions League final, gets it, whatever. He missed a sitter in the first minute with his header against Sunderland, right? If that was Gyökeres, he'd have been getting absolutely
so many different angles of that,
wouldn't he? He'd have been absolutely slaughtered. But you look at that and you go, and even Kai Havertz is really good in the air, and he missed it, and it is a sitter, right? You go, he's going to bring other things to the game. Say, Gyökeres would have got absolutely slaughtered, absolutely hammered, and he's like, actually, maybe what he needs now is the narrative is he's scoring goals against teams that are promoted or in the middle tier, or whatever. He needs a big goal, do you know what I mean, in a big game. And then that will just, again, quieten the noise down a bit.
North London derby on the horizon. I mean,
I said big game.
Yeah, of course. You did say small teams scoring against. Yeah, fair enough. It's interesting what you say, actually, Perry, because you've played with some legendary Arsenal strikers. And, when you talk about them demanding the ball from the midfielders. You know, we didn't necessarily see that from Victor Gyökeres. What do you think's changed? Do you think Arteta has had a word with him? Do you think maybe he's had a word, Victor Gyökeres has had a word with the midfielders? What do you think, potentially, without being in the dressing room, what do you think has happened?
I think there was another turning point was the penalty up at Everton. Because I know people say it's just a penalty, but Man City had won before that. We had to beat Everton. And everybody's got that, and it's Odegaard giving Gyökeres, and actually the captain, all the players going, there you go, mate, we trust you. Do you know what I mean? We trust you, but you need smashed it down the middle of the goal. People think that's easy. Trust me,
it's not.
Because again, because you imagine if he'd have missed it,
takes nerve.
We had a bit of history of that before. Remember when we give it to Kai Havertz, but that was at Bournemouth, and you're 3-0 up. And it was like, we need you to score because we need you to give confidence. So it's just been a slow sort of build-up to getting his confidence back. And I played with the level you're judged at as a centre-forward is even more scrutinous now because of all the stat. Like now, if you're a midfield player and you have a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 game, it's all right.
Yeah.
If you're Gyökeres and you bring players into the game, but you don't score for 2 or 3, that is the main stat, isn't it? So that's how you're judged. And Alan Smith came, and he didn't score for his first 3 games. And in all the papers, it was Smudge is a waste of money, Arsenal are in for Kerry Dixon. And you're like, he's like, it's only 3 games.
Yeah.
Now, if you do that for Leicester, which he was playing for, all just Leicester fans, they care, but the big media doesn't care. Gyökeres doing it for Sporting Lisbon, no one really notices or cares. You do it for Arsenal, and then they dropped Charlie Nicholas. I played up front with Smudge. You got a hat-trick against Portsmouth at home, and then went on to be one of Arsenal's great. So I saved Alan Smith's career every time I say, but he went on to be one of Arsenal's all-time great centre-forwards. Yeah. But even then, as he said, the scrutiny is unreal. But now I think with Gyökeres, because he's got his brace, it will just, you can tell that you feel tense. Whether if your fans are getting on your back, you're getting, now with social media, all the players do read the social media, or their people read the social media. And when it's not flowing, you could tell that he was just tense.
You're overthinking.
And exactly. And then through your head, you're not playing naturally. Now I just think he's starting to play like he was playing for Sporting Lisbon. Do you know what I mean? And he will start to be more demanding. He's got 100%. He's got the respect of the players and the manager, because Arteta always says he's working his socks off in training, got a good attitude. So the players will want you to do well.
Declan Rice said that as well. Yeah. So he's always had his teammates' trust. And one thing that I think Gyökeres has never been given is credit. He works his socks off. Like he's doing he's always done all the other facets of what Mikel Arteta's wanted. So naturally, it's all filled into place. Confidence is key for any footballer, much less a striker. I did feel sorry for Gyökeres because, as Perry mentioned, the social media, the Arsenal scrutiny. I do think people are a bit naive and ignorant when it comes to Gyökeres. Granted, he hasn't got the prettiest of playing style, but we've needed someone to just put the ball in the back of the net. And I like his ugly finishes because that's something that's going to be our bread and butter, especially going into the tail end of the season. So shout out Gyökeres.
He's never ever going to be someone who comes in, like Havertz, who links it up, who gets it, and he's got a really soft touch, and he lays it off, and he spins, and he sees the pass. That's not him. And I don't care. I've said before, I don't give a rat's backside if he doesn't score from now to the end of the season, and we win the Premier League or the Champions League or both. Who cares? Nobody cares.
It's all about, the Winter Olympics is on at the moment, of course, and it's like Olympic cycle, you know what I mean? If Gyökeres finds his form now in the business end of the season, who cares what happened earlier on?
No.
We're top of the league,
it's 6 points clear.
Where he finished. Exactly.
I'll say one thing I thought we changed really well on Saturday against Sunderland as well is, I don't think this season we've been shooting enough from distance. We haven't been shooting enough from 20, 25, because teams do sit deep. Obviously, we go wide, we come back in, we go wide. We're trying to look for the intricate passes.
Gaps.
If you think about in the first half on Saturday, Declan Rice had a curler, missed by an inch. Kai Havertz had a curler, missed by an inch. And then Zubimendi scores. So I think they've been working on, we're going to start shooting from distance. And then what happens then, if you do, then in the opposition's mind, they think, we've got to come and close down. Then you can start playing your little passes. Because you look at the technical players that we have, we've got very good technical players. So we should be shooting more from distance.
And they've got the ability and the competence to do it. How many times have we seen long-range efforts go in this season? We've seen it a couple of times. So especially when it comes down to breaking low blocks and being a bit unpredictable, could only be helpful going into the end of the season.
You know what as well? The crowd get excited.
Yeah,
of course.
The crowd, what is there's instead of being, and it can get quiet and a bit sort of anxious, the crowd then go, ooh,
Yeah.
and it raises everybody.
And it gasses you as a player. Sure.
Yeah.
Just talking about, goals from outside the box, having said what you just said there, Perry, Arsenal scored 8 from outside the box this season. Only Villa and Bournemouth, both on 11, have scored more, which is surprising. But Arteta was asked in his press conference, wasn't he, about goals from outside the box? Because I think there's a stat floating around again where it's one of the lowest ever in the Premier League because, everyone's trying to walk it in now. But we saw Manchester United scored 2 bangers against us from outside the box. So, there is a profit or, a good reason to be shooting from outside the box because everybody's really good at organised in defence at the back now. If you can shoot from outside the box, you can profit from it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Provokes chaos.
Yeah.
And the ball moves now.
Yeah.
And the player's technique now, you either bent it with the outside of your foot when I was playing or with the instep, or now they go for the valve or whatever it is, and they put their foot through the ball, and it actually moves both ways. When I played, the old the Adidas Tango, which is the best ball ever, by the way, that just bent one way or it bent the other. This one actually can move and bend at the last minute, can't it? So I saw with Szoboszlai's free kick.
Yeah. Great example.
I mean, we'll get on to that. We are, of course, going to talk about what happened up at Anfield.